Video I'm going to be comparing the Lethal Weapon franchise to the Saw franchise. These two franchises are obviously very different from one another. It's two different tones, two different genres. Lethal Weapon is classic action buddy cop, whereas Saw is really violent R-rated horror. They're slashers. I haven't actually, to be clear, watched any of the Lethal Weapon or Saw movies. When it comes to the highest score for each franchise, with Saw, ooh man, they put out 10 movies at this point, and only one of them is fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, that being the latest entry, Saw 10, which has an 80%. For Lethal Weapon, the highest score is an 82% for the second movie. Lethal Weapon wins here. Then when you look at lowest score, with Lethal Weapon, the lowest score is of 52% for the fourth movie, which is the latest one. When it comes to Saw, lowest score is only a 9% for Saw 7, so Lethal Weapon wins here. And then when you look at average score, with Lethal Weapon you have an average of 68, with Saw you have an average of 34, so Lethal Weapon wins again. Then when you look at gap between lowest and highest score, with Lethal Weapon you have a gap of 28, whereas with Saw you have a gap of 71, so Lethal Weapon has won every round so far. And to me, this one is very, very obvious. It's not difficult whatsoever. It's like, yeah, obviously, Lethal Weapon is just the better, more consistent franchise. Of course, Lethal Weapon has only put out 4 movies, whereas Saw has put out 10, so, that helps. But when you look at the Lethal Weapon franchise, sure, there was a drop-off going into the third and fourth movie. A lot of people don't think those movies are as good, but it's pretty clear to me that there definitely is less of a drop-off for Lethal Weapon than Saw. Where, when you look at all the movies besides the latest one, the original movie has a higher score than all the others of 50%, and then things went downhill after that first movie, which already wasn't really received all that well. It just feels to me, like, based on things I've heard about the Saw franchise from, watching YouTube videos, the problem is that filmmakers made the really bad decision to kill off Jigsaw in the second or third movie. Yeah, their main character, they killed off early on in the franchise. And then they focused a lot on Hoffman, which a lot of people would say was not a good decision at all, because it's just not interesting when you have Hoffman being such a mastermind. He's able to plan all these things out in advance. He is so good at playing this big elaborate chess game, and you go, really? Why is it that this guy is so smart? Why is it he's this intelligent? I don't really believe or buy that he's so much smarter than all these other people. That, oh, Hoffman is always able to escape. He's always able to outthink everyone else, and it doesn't feel earned. It seems to me like Saw 10 actually did a good job of finally giving the fans of this franchise what they would want from a Saw movie. It actually went back to, well, the title character of Jigsaw. Oh, what a shocking idea. Hey, let's go back to the main character of our franchise. Maybe that will actually make this movie be well received. And it did end up being well received because Saw 10 went back to what the fans actually like from these movies. It actually showed Jigsaw as someone who obviously does horrible, evil things, but he's doing them to people who aren't very sympathetic or likable. So it makes things interesting to be sure that you're thinking, okay, Jigsaw's obviously no hero, because it doesn't matter how bad a person might be, killing people is wrong. It's as simple as that. But you're also thinking, okay, well, I'm not really feeling very bad for the person who's stuck in the trap, because they're not really very good either. It feels to me like Saw 10 actually did a good job with the traps, with the puzzles. It actually made them compelling and interesting. So people not only actually really enjoyed Saw 10, but were like, yeah, let's do more Saw movies. I'm totally open to that. Like, this movie actually set things up that could very easily lead into a sequel. And actually, it seems to me like the end of the movie flat out did things to tease where the filmmakers want to take the franchise next. So, it seems like, okay, finally, Saw is in a good place, but it's pretty obvious that Lethal Weapon is just a more consistent franchise than Saw, where there's been movies in there that people have enjoyed, but always been really up and down. That'll wrap things up for this video. I'm definitely choosing Lethal Weapon. Bye, everyone.